Can't get enough of Kelly and Ramya?
We're now on YouTube for you to indulge in highlights from our show. Kelly McDonald and Ramya Ahmedin, this is Kelly and Ramya, and thanks for joining us.
Well, we get a chance once a month to talk to some of the voices that you may know. You may hear them periodically or relatively frequently, but you may also not hear them speaking to you or about subjects they normally have the venue to do so here on the network. So Voices was created to allow that to happen. On our segment, generally, we love to hear about people's passions, drives, and any comments on topics that someone might find important, maybe even let them get on a soapbox about it. Today, our guest is longtime AMI employee Bill Shackleton. Shack, welcome.
Hello, good to be here for a change of scene maybe, or topic,
well,
or yeah.
I think so. I think we got a few things to ask you a little bit about, to reflect on, and share with us things that people may or may not know about you. Mostly, I'm starting with production work. You started at AMI. We talked about this in kind of celebrating your length of time here and the anniversary of AMI overall a while back. So don't need to cover all that off. But what I was kind of curious about, Bill, and I put this on the list of things to talk about, before you moved to TV where you are with us now as of the last 5 weeks, basically, you did production work for years at AMI from the beginning until the switchover. For you, how did this change? And we're always talking about how accessible certain things are. And we know, let's be straight up, certain things doing TV, media, audio, whatever work you're doing, you run into the roadblocks of not necessarily this is accessible. How do you get around it? For the work you were doing, which at first recording a lot of people and processing those shows for airing, and that work evolved and changed. Can you tell us a little bit about that history and where did you run into the roadblocks? What couldn't you do?
Well, when we started recording, we were using reel-to-reel tapes,
oh my
or cassettes.
Yeah.
And because that was what all reading services were doing. But the main, of course, there was no computers back then, but there was no internet. So the major thing that happened was when we went digital, because everybody else did, we had to find a program that was accessible. And I remember looking at a few of them. We went out on field trips and we found this DOS-based program that allowed us to go digital. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know what we would have done.
What's the program?
I mean, well, it was Cart Ready back then. And I guess it's still going. I'm not sure.
Didn't Studio Recorder...
That came in later.
It turned one, yeah. And I'm trying to remember what Cart Ready was really what we used as to be able to save and stuff like that. If my memory serves right, because we at one point had SoundForge when it came along. And
yeah, that's right.
Then did we switch to recording in the studios and with Studio Recorder, or did something happen? I thought there was a phase over of Cart Ready to Studio.
There was. We remember when we started recording in the volunteers in the Studio Recorder. And I was responsible for bringing that on board because I saw it on Main Menu. I'm sure you know that program.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Way back. And I brought it in. And it was like, hey, this is something a volunteer can do, and you can record on your own. It was really easy, and it's easy to use. And, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm still using it today for certain things. So it stood the test of time.
So at that point, too, you had to save stuff into a system and an operating system, which is another thing from my time in broadcast school in the mid-90s. We had so many areas where we couldn't do Pro Tools and SAW, a couple of examples there. And we were looking at things like, Cakewalk to be able to do things with Cake Talk as it moved in to being a more versatile thing. But at that point, and it was such a hard thing to do. I come to AMI and we start using this accessible stuff. Which was kind of funny because I know for myself, Bill, the last year of college, I actually could not do production because it was inaccessible. So I had to do a makeup course kind of thing. And everybody figured, yeah, he's not going to go anywhere where he's going to get a production job. Fast forward a few years and voila. So I hear you. So how did that go from there, Billy, to were there things as AMI grew and things changed over that you could still do? We know Jacob does a lot of stuff from his past experience too, from education. But how did it work out for you?
what I found was that when we stopped using the volunteers, the recording became a little bit less. There wasn't the variety that I was used to doing, and it was like it was time for me to move on. I mean, it was like we're recording maybe 3 or 4 shows right now, and that's all there are. And we were recording dozens and dozens of sessions way back then.
Right.
And there was more readers, and there was more variety. And now it got to the point where I got sick and tired of doing the same things.
Well, the channel itself has changed so much since you started. Yeah,
and a lot of people doing their own, right? Just like we talk about audiobook readers, because back when I started, we were recording anywhere from 22 to 26 shows a day.
Oh yeah, it was 8 or 9 sessions a day.
But Billy, you stuck with it though. I mean, like, your perspective on I want to move on because I want to do different things is one part of it. But as audio changed, as production changed, recording, like all these different logistics kept moving and exponentially developing as technology changed, you were still like learning all of it and going
adapting.
Through it. Yeah, and adapting and being resilient. That's wild.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about you bringing studio recorder, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I stuck with it with the production work because what else was there for me to do? There wasn't the TV side. There wasn't a whole lot of, other things you could do back in the day, right? So
yeah. It's interesting. So speaking of interesting, your favorite audio to listen to, and you're going to have to contextualize this for us, please, is cold starts. Okay, what is this? We have an audio we're going to get to, but you're going to have to preface it for us.
Yeah, well, actually, a cold start, and this goes back to, I like to listen to engines and motors, and I mean, I always like the way they work, and I kind of like to listen to things that don't start, or at least take a long time to start, and I don't know why that is.
Okay.
But yeah, and it was like I would walk down the street when I was a kid. And if there was somebody running their lawnmower, I'd get them to shut it off and start it.
You would ask, outright ask them. Okay.
Can I hear your lawnmower start? And it was like, yeah. And sometimes a guy couldn't get it going again.
Oh no!
You were counting on that, weren't you?
Well,
Bill?
maybe you were into the swearing at you when the guy couldn't get it going. That stupid little kid. Jeez.
Yeah.
Did you bank on it not starting again?
I was hoping it would take a while. Yeah.
Okay.
What else did you get people to cold start? Would you do it? Would you always stop with cars, or if you heard some poor soul?
Oh yeah. If I heard yeah, you know what? If I heard a car, I'd just stop dead and listen.
Wow.
And it was like, hopefully they didn't see me. And if they did, they tell me to get out and stop watching.
Stop eavesdropping on my cold start.
Stop grinning. Yeah. That's right. Leave my car alone. We're having a private conversation as they're kicking it.
Okay, we're going to obviously play a sound, but I think we're all getting the idea of what this cold start stuff is. But I want to ask you, was it the fact that it may not start again that got you interested, intrigued?
Yeah.
And you just discovered this by hearing it, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you ever discuss it with other people? Like, did other people have fascinations on this?
I never discussed it at all.
Oh, until now.
He had no choice now. He made the mistake of letting it be something I learned about.
That's right.
So as I was exploring on YouTube once, so let's see what this guy's got all about. I was thinking you would come in and send us like a steamboat turning over or a locomotive or something like that.
Oh, there are tons of people on YouTube that like cold starts. Tons of them.
So you found your community.
Really yeah, I found a community. Oh, for sure.
Okay, here, let's listen to what it sounds like. What is this one, by the way, Billy?
This is a Cessna.
Okay.
A cold start by, I think, a French guy. And it was recorded about 7 years ago. And I had to edit the video because it was long. But you'll get the idea.
All right, here we go. just imagining Billy on the street, like waiting for this and listening around and just being so excited.
Oh yeah, boy.
I just love, though, when you think about it, as you said about the community, Bill, this guy recorded it for whatever reason, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's
you know,
right.
as a kid, I recorded all sorts of stuff. I would like to make my own sound effects and create sounds like from the TV
Oh,
shows I
yeah.
watched. I wanted my own collection of this, that, vehicle startings, doors slamming, everything like that. I was a sound
Audio
effects
fascination.
collector.
But is this a good one, Billy? Like, what would you say about the quality of this cold start that we just heard?
It was pretty good. There was some voices in the background that I couldn't edit out, but no, I would say this is actually pretty good. And it took longer, but I had to edit it because it was too long. Like these videos are, some of these things are long videos, and of course there was no swearing in this one, but I have heard videos where where people just start swearing
Because they're
Get mad at the
frustrated.
vehicle. Yeah, they're
'cause
frustrated.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Is this, you know, again, I don't believe this is one of your favorites. Do you particularly like planes versus automobiles versus what other things have you listened to start?
Oh, tractors, cars, old cars. I mean, my family had Studebakers, and you know, they had a specific wine when they started, and you know, anything like that. If I can get, you know, anything from a locomotive to I've anything, tractors, buses, you know,
Do
everything
you
like
keep
that.
them? Do you like keep them, or is this all on YouTube?
They're all on YouTube.
And before YouTube, it was real life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
What are you doing at my door? Sir, I feel that car outside. Is that a Chevy? It is, sir. Could you start it up for a moment?
Yeah,
What?
could you tell, like, by the engines or by the sound, which engines? Yeah.
Sometimes, some of them.
It's harder
sometimes.
now, isn't it, Bill? I used to be
Yeah,
able to tell
'cause they're all
products of
the same.
cars.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I used to be able to tell what make a vehicle was by the
That's
sound of
right.
it, you know,
That's
but not
right.
now.
Man,
No, not as easily.
when we transform to electric vehicles fully,
Oh,
it's going to be a
that's not
sad
gonna,
day
I'm
for
going to be
Billy.
sad for me.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing.
oh, yeah, because they don't really make noise now, eh, Bill? Or any of those scooters that go by or anything like that. They
Oh,
have different
no.
sounds. When
Yeah,
I'm out
they
on my
do.
bike rides, I'm trying to learn some of the different sounds, but holy cow. That's amazing. And I always wondered, because you enjoy, was there something else that you liked? I used to love the old 70s cigarette machines. And I've looked for certain ones, and again, for me, it goes back to when I was a kid, and I remember being sent, go get me a pack of cigarettes, you know, when they do silly things like that and send kids for that stuff. And I remember throwing the money into the machine and the sound of it, and I absolutely loved it.
What I really use now, well, is the SMR videos, and they're long, and I love the nature ones because I don't get near nature as much as I used to. And the idea that you can hear rain and thunder, and if on a cold day you can listen to a fireplace,
Yeah.
and it just puts you. And really, what is really neat for me is if you listen to an audiobook, you can really enhance the experience by these videos. If the book is medieval, you can listen to the sound of a bar or the sound of a carriage, or if you listen to a Sherlock Holmes book, you can listen to a violin and
They make a
fireplace.
full soundscape out of it.
Yeah, it does, and you really can enhance your listening experience with these videos.
It's amazing, Billy, how now, whether you're listening to television, listening to audio stories, podcasts, sound is so important versus in the 90s and stuff like that. Nobody bothered with sound of anything. It didn't matter. Now when you watch sports and they put microphones everywhere because people want
you're
to hear
practically
the
there
umpire.
with them.
Yeah, and it surrounds you, whereas before it was an afterthought.
And with the quality of speakers and where that's gotten, actual surround sound and positional audio in our ears, honestly, it's incredible. Billy, before we go, can we actually ask you this question? How do you decide, because you're on the Buzz with Bill Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, how do you decide what articles to bring up? Is there like a formula you have in your head? What goes on there?
Oh, I look for articles that sometimes are controversial. I look for articles that are funny. And when I see an article and I read the title, it's like, this is ours. I mean, I can
Just based on the headline.
Yeah, based
Wow.
on the title, I can tell it's a buzz story. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way I do it. And some of these articles are good, some of them aren't so good, maybe, but they are controversial. And most importantly, you might not hear them anywhere else. As I've said before, you may not hear them anywhere else.
Yeah.
We
So
believe you
they-
because when we read the headlines, the titles of the
Yeah.
articles you bring, we go, oh my gosh, what is this even going to be about?
That's right.
Yeah.
Where is he going here? And we always hear the anticipation of, this is a good one. We know what that means.
That's
Controversial. Right. Billy, thanks for making time for us today and doing this visit with us on Voices.
So fun.
Oh, no problem.
We'll talk to you
Great.
tomorrow on the Buzz, pal.
Yeah, talk to you tomorrow.
Longtime employee at AMI, Bill Shackleton, now working with us on the TV side. Had a little talk with him about sound. Boy, that's a lot of fun. And his time at AMI doing production.
Thanks for watching.
You can catch Kelly and Ramya weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern on AMI.